moves their chairs against the wall to make space. Everyone stands and moves their chairs to make space. Very good. Everyone finds a space that they are comfortable in, against the wall, standing. Everyone finds a space. Everyone finds a comfortable space and should feel free to move about. So, here we all are. Here we all are. They begin. They wonder if they're as nervous now as they thought they would be. They think about nerves. Have you really thought about nerves? They remember upstairs. They remember the two plants, the two short plants standing behind the speaker. They remember the speaker's hands, nervous hands, and the rosy red cheeks of the nervous speaker. They look away because they can't handle how nervous the speaker is. It makes them really uncomfortable. They look out the window and see another window, and in that window, a woman, opens her window. And they really wish that someone would open a window up here, upstairs, with the two trees and me. They're very, very warm. They notice that the woman who has opened the window is hanging laundry out. And then she's gone. And then suddenly a man appears in the window, and he's wearing a smart taupe jumper. And they can see his muscles through the jumper, and they get kind of excited. And then that awkward applause of introduction brings them back to the nervous lecture, the nervous presentation. And they wonder a lot about how we present, why we present. They wonder, why orange lanyards? It's so garish. They begin to doodle because that's how they listen. And they look over at the person next to them to see what they're writing. It says sandwich. And they think, oh, I could really use a sandwich. And it's not because they're bored or because they dislike the things being said, but they're hungry. And they've been sitting in a black chair, listening for a while. And the black chair makes them a bit nervous because they're quite tall. And maybe someone behind them can't see. And they worry that the people can't see, so they scrunch down in the chair, and that hurts their back. and they think about that, and then they hear something that's important, so they make a note. A key concept. And they hope that they understood because they weren't really paying attention. Not really. Have you really thought about attention? How we pay attention? What is the economy of attention? What is the economy of a nervous giggle as someone gets closer to you? Oh. What's missing from that encounter? They wonder a lot of things as the next speaker begins, and they think,
Well, so they woke up on time, actually, but it was in the shower when things started to go wrong. It was hot, and they were tired, and they were enjoying themselves. And they got out of the shower later than they had anticipated. And then everything else happened a little bit later than they anticipated, and by the time they were at King's Cross, they realized they weren't going to make it to the first talk. So they got a cup of coffee, and they sat in the station. And when they got to the space, they came inside, and they felt guilty, but they mostly got over that. And then they were here. They were here with everybody else, and they waited, and then another talk started. And they did sit down, and they listened, and they were happy to listen. And they drank so much coffee, and their heart was pounding, and they imagined that their hands might be shaking, but then they tested their hands, and their hands were steady. And they're attached to things like drinking too much coffee, and they're attached to things like jokes and to talking loudly, and the formal is baffling to them, but they feel at home with feeling baffled. And they fall in love with ideas, and they lose threads, and the anger and sadness that are constant companions in that act of concentrating become amplified. And a refrain that they hear when it's quiet enough, a refrain that's not theirs in its impulse, and not theirs in its phrasing, and not theirs in its cause, but theirs maybe in its repetition. What is to be done? What is to be done? What is to be done? Has a counterpoint. And the counterpoint is not enough, not enough, not enough. And then all of a sudden they're standing in front of a bunch of people, and they're tempted to confess, and confess, and confess everything that they've ever said, or thought, or done, or not done. 100,000 billion confessions. They never get beyond their personalities, they think. They never get behind their personalities. And they wanted to be here, and they've always wanted to be here. And in the getting here, they were dissatisfied. And in the being here, they were dissatisfied. And the possibility of not being dissatisfied is almost literally unimaginable. And yet, here we all are. Here we all are. Here we all are. Okay, so when we were talking about doing a sort of wrap-up performance for an event called Generative Constraints, what felt important was that constraints, if it's significant to us, has to mean that what happens isn't what has to happen. So for us, the idea of contingency is a necessary condition for caring about constraints. And so what we're going to do in this final sort of 5-minute section that we have cheated a little bit by eating into is we're going to go through these notes that we've made here, semi-spontaneously and not at all spontaneously, actually. These notes that are our sort of structured response to this day, this event. Each of us has responded to the events, to concepts that we've encountered today, to references that we've been introduced to, and to lacunae that we've experienced. And so we'd like to together sort of sift through these notes so that we can kind of have a sense for what happened today, so that we can have maybe even a little bit of a better sense about what could have happened today. So
here we all are.
Here we all are.
Okay. So we want to start with concepts, references.
Concepts?
Oh,
okay.
Concepts
Great.
from the document school.
Great.
Like a concept.
Concepts.
All right. So shall we read them?
Let's read them together or separately.
I'll read yours. You read mine.
Okay.
Okay. Concepts: repetition, translation, the local, shared space.
Longing, fuck off, labor, care, time, space, N+7, tense, early career, and documentation.
Okay.
Okay, so those are concepts. Those are all of the concepts.
Those are all the concepts. That's
An
everything
exhaustive list.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
we can't really, that's encyclopedic, so
Yeah.
you're
No,
welcome.
that can't be improved.
I think that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you for that. Okay. I think let's go to references, because I think this was key, maybe. And it might
Well, no, I think it's good to end. I think you're right. This is the right order.
Is this it? Okay.
I think this is the order.
All right.
Yeah.
So you read. Oh,
Yeah, great. I'll start
Yeah.
this time though. Okay.
All rehearsed every time.
Armstrong, critical reading. Ask Jane, who said the thing about anticipation, a longing that moves forward. Is Jane here?
Jane, did you leave?
Does anybody remember?
Does anyone know? I really liked that.
Something about anticipation being a longing that moves forward. Does
I left a
anybody know
space
who
to
said
fill it in,
that?
so if anyone looks at their notes, you
She
could
spoke
write
about
it in.
nostalgia being a longing that looks back versus a longing that looks back.
Yeah, but then she said that somebody said specifically that anticipation was a longing that moves forward, and I thought I'd be interested in that. But unfortunately, I didn't listen because I was actually staring at an orange lanyard at that moment. That's why I made that note.
So one thing that could have happened today, Justin, is that you could have been listening a little bit better and you could have picked up on that reference.
Or I could have talked to Jane.
Right.
But
Winnicott, Hart and Negri, what about Marx, what about women? Desserteau, Meyerholz.
Derrida, Echo, Narcissus, Richard Sennett, The Craftsman, okay. Something pie, something about craft making. Anyone? Clarification?
Somebody pie.
We want to make sure we have the correct documentation.
David Pye.
David
David
Pye.
Pye.
Yes.
P-Y-E.
Yeah, we have
We
that.
got the spelling right.
David.
I thought they meant maths pie.
David. Okay, what's that?
Oulipo.
Oulipo,
George Perec.
George Perec, Italo, Calvino, don't know that one, Vitruvius, Kircher, Mallarmé, Martha Roslin, and Kimbaku. Okay.
Kinbaku.
Kimbaku, thank you. Who was it? Hi, you?
Yeah,
Thanks.
me.
Thanks. The touchy one. Okay. So, these are the references.
So these are the references.
That, thank you.